Ma'am, we are live.
A very, very good morning to all our senior students. In fact, good noon to all our students, Pan India, our chairman, Dr. Bose, all our directors and team IIHM, and a very, very hearty welcome from the Bangalore Career Studio. This noon, we have a very important topic of discussion, which is reinventing supply chain and operations in the new normal scenario in hospitality. And this would be addressed by none other than our esteemed advisory board member of Sahas Initiative, Mr. Rudra Shankar Roy. To give you a little brief about who Mr. Roy is, he is a general manager, thought leader, industrial products and supply chain SME from IBM GBS CIC. He's currently leading the IBM's CBD's CIC Process Automation, RPA, PAO, Smarter Process and Industrial Products Consulting Practice. Mr. Roy is widely known as the IBM's global SME for process consulting, supply chain and operations, and metal and mining industry. He has about 22 plus years of industry experience in the area of E2E process transformation, supply chain management, robotic process automation, Lean Six Sigma, process consulting, target operating model, engagement, large program management, steel industry, shop floor management, and project management. He has worked extensively with clients globally in various verticals. Responsible for business development, solutioning, and GTM, which is otherwise called as go-to-market activities for IBM CIC consulting team across geographies, client setups across industries. He's instrumented in signing the multi-million USD deals for major IBM clients in last 15 years of association with IBM. He has also led 300 plus high-profile consulting and transformation engagement globally, and is an experienced team leader and held team leading positions in North America, Europe, MEA, Caribbean, Southeast Asia, Australia, APAC, and India, partnering with CXO level executives globally. He's also having experience of setting up a startup, laid the internal processes and systems, getting the organization to ISO 9001, 2008, QS 9000, TS 16949, Quality Management System, and SIM, that is ESCM certified. Mr. Rudra Roy is an IBM certified thought leader for industrial products, IBM certified strategic supply chain engineer, IBM certified senior solution manager, certified strategy consultant on an expert level, and received various professional awards and accolades from IBM. He's also certified and recognized as IBM's mentor for global business services. He is a Kolkata-born Zavarian, a renowned steel technologist and metallurgist by engineering degree from none other than IIHM, which is formerly known as the BE College Shibpur. He's a certified Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt and the Master Seller Industrial Products from DMOR McKim School of Business, Northeastern University. He's the honorary guest faculty and the regular speaker for the various management and engineering institutes like Indian Institute of Management, IIM, Lucknow and Calcutta, IMI Kolkata, Xavier's Business School, Sister Nivedita University, St. Xavier's College, St. Joseph's College and Institutions, and many other renowned management bodies. He's also the honorary member to advisory board of SNU, IIHM, JCAR, and SGC. To welcome Mr. Rudra Roy, I would like to now call upon our enduring chairman, Dr. Shibono Bose. Dr. Bose, are you here? I'm just taking a little time to find if Dr. Bose has joined us already. In the meantime, I would like to also invite my other directors, my colleagues from the other university or from the other campuses to give a small welcome to Mr. Roy.
Good morning, Mr. Roy. This is Devashish Ghosh, Director of IIHM Ahmedabad. I want to welcome you to the Sahas session. It is a great pleasure to have you on board. And I'm sure that the students are waiting eagerly to hear from you about the supply chain. And we hope to gain a lot of knowledge from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ghosh. I would also like to have my other directors who have joined in right now, to give a small welcome to Mr. Roy, while we wait for Dr. Bose as well. Okay, I trust they're all joining in, Mr. Roy, and we shall be waiting for Dr. Bose in a while to join us. I trust he's just trying to finish his meeting and trying to get in here. He shall be here very, very soon. And in the meantime, we would like to go ahead and welcome you on board for starting this very, very, very important session. We are very interested, and I'm sure this topic itself, creates a lot of questions, a lot of, I can say, excitement, with a lot of knowledge in students. So we look forward to the session by you, Mr. Roy.
And I'll wait for a few minutes to Dr. Bose to join. And I
sure.
think as a very good afternoon to everyone. I don't know if the people are only from India, so it's a good afternoon to India people. Good evening to some of the people, those who might be joining, because IIHM is spread across the world, right? So good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever it is, and the time zone that depends on the world, right? So IIHM is everywhere in every part of the world.
In fact, Mr. Roy, it has been an amazing, journey with you, because you've been always a great patron for IIHM. Of course, on a personal level, you has been a huge support to IIHM and all our students, with such an amazing friendship that you have with sir and definitely with all of us. You've always been there as a backbone, and we are so happy to have you on board also as an advisory board member of Sahas Initiative, especially for Bangalore, along with, many acclaimed advisory board members that we already have. So that's a huge support system, and that we have in you for all our students who are in fact wanting to become tomorrow an entrepreneur. And that what you would basically have to say about it. When we launched Sahas, Mr. Roy, it's been about a couple of months now when Dr. Bose inaugurated Sahas globally, with such acclaimed personalities all over the world. We would like to hear from you, your thought process on that.
So let me start with a simple anecdote, right? So an event is a life, right? So if an idea is an event, that's what Dr. Bose always talked about, right? So when Sahas launched, I think this was an idea which the nation wants to absorb, right? Nation wants, not only India, I'm talking about the world wants to absorb, because Sahas comes with dare to do, right? Or the born encouragement, I will say, for the entrepreneurs or the budding hospitality industry people. And this is a brainchild of Dr. Bose, which is now taking a mammoth shape with all the support from each and every one involved in this journey. So this is a journey, and the journey is turns to be an excellence. That's what I can say at this point of time. So yes, this is a seed that has need to be nurtured to make a emperor of lot of I'll say the budding entrepreneur coming into that particular shades of Sahas.
Right. Thank you so much, sir.
And
now
I'm truly honored. I'm truly honored, and I don't know. I'm losing out of my words to be part of this particular journey.
We are so truly honored to have you on board with us. And I can also see, our another advisory board member, of course, the very, very knowledgeable and definitely one of our very favorite, Mr. Chetan Kamani, who is joining today to, in fact, hear your session. And this is definitely a great, wonderful morning and, of course, an afternoon with so much of knowledge and so much of discussion on supply chain, one of the most important, you can see, operational subjects for our students to understand as they go ahead and lead up their sessions on entrepreneurship. So without, I think, engaging further more time, Mr. Roy, let's start the session while Dr. Bose joins in during the mid-session itself. We will be welcoming him once he's here. Right. So could we have the session starting, Mr. Roy?
Yeah, I'm good. We can start.
Yes, yes. So our IT team would be there to help you out with the presentation while we will be starting with the lecture from your end.
Shall we?
Yes, yes, Mr. Roy, we are good to start. Over to you now.
Sanchari and everyone from IIHM for giving me the opportunity to address the Pan-India students and the entrepreneur. And this is a great initiative that IIHM in the banner of Sahas has taken. So it's not only giving the overview of how the industry is shaping today, is also helping the industry to come up with the various solutions, various way of working in the new normal scenario, right? And welcome to all the participants. Let's make it as interactive as the session can be. I'll be more than happy to take the questions at the end of the session. And I think Sanchari will be helping us to navigate the questions along with the other team members, right?
Absolutely, Mr. Roy. I'll be keeping a check on the questions and giving it to you.
So let me move on, right? Let me move on to the slides, and if someone can help me to navigate to the next slide, which talks about the supply chain and the supply chain management, right? I do understand a lot of people are from the industry, as well as you are the students who are getting merging into the industry, right? So you have learned a lot about the word called supply chain, right? So supply is a chain, in a normal term, in a very, very simple language, what I understand supply chain is getting everything in a chain action, right? So whether it is starting from understanding the requirement that we are getting from a customer and delivering that product with a big smile to the customer. The entire cycle is an autonomous enterprise, collective responsible work that we all are doing to extend our support to the customer. The customers can be anyone. The supply chain can relate to any industry, any processes across the world, right? So don't think only supply chain term in manufacturing. Supply chain term everywhere, whether it is a retail, whether it is a distribution, whether it's a banking process, whether it is a hospitality industry, wherever you have a customer, a supply chain is always been there. So this is a coordination between the activities of the product that you are making. The product can be a platter that you are offering to your customers. The product can be, I'm talking from the hospitality industry, the product can be the front office management that also needs a supply chain. So we will definitely go into the details of all those things. The one thing that we need to understand when we were looking into the supply chain management, there's the linkage of the information in the supply chain. So the information comes in the various manner. It comes through various channels. It can be the information related to the customer. It can be the information related to the process. It can be related to the product. It can be related to the technology. It can be related to anything and everything. So every information is critical in the journey of integrating the supply chain and the strategy alignment to that. And if we are not able to connect, that's the weakest link in the supply chain domain. So you have to deal with the information, you have to understand the information, translating those information into your product and the process that you are going to deliver. So that's all the understanding of the supply chain in a short manner. So we're moving to the next slide. So these slides that I'm going to narrate about the pressure we all are going through in this global pandemic situation for the last 6 months or so, right? So it started in the month of, I'll say globally it was started in the last year, near about December, end of the year, and which India got the heat in the month of February. So we are almost like now 6 to 7 months in the journey of the the pressure that is getting into the supply chain in this pandemic situation. And now being an IBMer, I am proud to be an IBMer, to be honest. Served the IBM for last 15 years, as Sanchari has mentioned. So I always look up to what IBM is talking about in the supply chain domain or any other domain or any other industry. So we have a huge setup and the people are working in terms of creating the values of the business in the different dimensions. So this is one of the studies when IBM reached out to the various CXOs across the world in the various domains. And this comes with the IBM business value. So the business value talks about how the things are changing in this pandemic situation. So if we relate this to our working experiences, because this is what we are going through, learning by experience, because we never have been into this kind of situation in our life. So this is the first time we are experiencing what is pandemic is all about. We are experiencing what are the challenges we are going to face in this era. I would call this is an era of various challenge. I will not say this is a pandemic situation. I will say this is an era of challenge. Now, if we are able to overcome this era of challenge, then we will have a supremacy to deal with the constraints. So I do understand that everyone in the industry putting all their best efforts to overcome this era of challenge, going into the fresh dimension of knowing the industry, understanding the business values, coming up with the transformative aspect of the business. So that's how I was talking to Sanchari a few days back. I do understand that IAM, right? IAM was a mother of IIHM and it started. So that's how this transformation started. And today, IIHM is Asia's #1 leading institution in the hospitality industry. And not only that, is the #1 management institute of the hotel management, right? So is giving, what is the product that IIHM is giving to us? IIHM is giving the best of the best people who can play a significant role in this hospitality industry. And I think they are the true leader who is going to challenge the era of pandemic. So I think Dr. Bose has joined, probably, I don't know.
Yes,
So
yes, Mr. Roy. We have sir who has just joined in. And as we move ahead, we would like to welcome Dr. Bose here to welcome you. Sir, over to you.
And I would also like to hear Dr. Bose, what is his point of view today?
He is here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Rudra. It's such a pleasure to have you with us in Bangalore and in our band. So sorry, I was caught up in a shoot, so took some time to join. But then it is such a honor and pleasure to have you with us and our young students. And I could see our directors there also joining in from all over the country. And this is such an important point and important aspect of the hospitality industry, the supply chain, the logistics. These are the important things because these are things where people have to now also save a lot of expenses and expenditure so that the hospitality sector can make some profit because revenues are drying up and it's still looking better as we're limping into the normalcy. But even then, I think it's very important that we need to really make sure that we save as much as possible in the procurement, in the logistic, in the supply chain, because these are the areas that keeps the hotel moving, and net surplus or the net flow, the cash flow, as we say, gets favorably affected if we can control. I'm sure all the chefs and the food and beverage guys will agree with me. Actually, it's more important than saving any other cost to save the cost in this area. So, and we couldn't have got a better person to talk than Mr. Rudra Shankar Roy, and who is also a great friend of IIHM, I must say, whether it's about our Sahas initiative or any other initiative that we have taken. He has already the first person to come and support us. So thanks very much for joining us from Bangalore. And it's such a pleasure to have you with us. And we look forward to have you more often so that the students can gain from your vast knowledge, especially when technology is one area. I was talking with in a webinar of the CEOs of the hotel industry last week, and they all were saying that only technology can really put the hospitality sector to a profitable ecosystem in the next year as we move towards 2021 post-COVID. It's only the tech that can really take us towards that phase of profit. So I think it's very important, this particular session and sessions like this, which our students have to understand. And in IIHM, we always talk about the art and commerce of hospitality as against the art and science of hospitality. So we really appreciate what you are doing. It is a vision of IIHM to teach our students the art and commerce of hospitality. And this particular session today perfectly fits into that, the art and commerce of hospitality. So thanks once again for coming and joining us and for enlightening all of us, the students, the faculty, the directors, ourselves, myself, everybody. So over to you, Rudra, carry on. We are all hearing you.
Network error from Sir's end.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
and I think it is I'm fortunate, and it is a real pleasure for me be part of this journey. And as we all look forward to you, because the man of the hospitality himself is talking in this session. So that's a great learning for us as well. And because you have nurtured, you have seen the industry, you have built the industry for everyone, and not only for our India as a country, as a nation, but as a world is looking forward to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'll go into the slides as we were discussing.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And over to you, Rudra, for the continuity of the session now.
Yeah. So as Dr. Bose mentioned, and I'm going by his words. So he mentioned about technology, he mentioned about arts and commerce part of the hospitality industry. He mentioned about the logistics, he mentioned about the revenue, he mentioned about the cost, he mentioned about the networking, the IT component, definitely the inventory. Now, coming to what IBM is talking about, right? So let's see what IBM business value in terms of those words that Dr. Bose has mentioned. He is part of the CXO community in the world. So let us also see, one of the CXO has already mentioned, and he has been vetted those things, right? So what IBM is talking today, what CXOs has mentioned in their journey with IBM, this is what we are talking. So we are talking about the volatile demand today in this pandemic situation. So this is really critical, as Dr. Bose has also mentioned, because everywhere and in the hospitality industry, the demand patterns is getting changed. Every now and then, the service levels are going to be different. So what we observe today, tomorrow might not be the scenario. So the inventory are getting fluctuated in every now and then, right? So today we are talking about how should we keep the stock out situation of the high demand good, or how we can eliminate the zero demand good in terms of the stockpile situation, so that I can mobilize my inventory in a different dimensions. So every count of inventory matters because it is directly linked and the proportionate to the revenue of the business. more the inventory that you are carrying as a cost is more your operational cost is getting damaged, right? So as we move forward, we need to understand what are the logistics constraints. This is a very, very important aspect today in terms of how the loads and the capacity of each of the warehouse has to be fully occupied, right? The capacity, not only the capacity, how this can be utilized, how the on-time delivery matters to us, how we can fill the rate of disbursement of various logistical aspects, right? The other aspect, the labor logistics, because due to the pandemic situation, we are facing challenge in terms of handling the labors, right? So we as a labor, maybe the skilled, unskilled labor, we need to understand how this can be rationalized, this can be optimized, this can be cost efficiently managed. So the other thing which the CXOs are talking today in terms of shifting the supply network. So how we can bring the visibility in terms of our entire chain of supply, right? Or starting from getting the demand, servicing the demand, right? So once you get the demand, understanding the customer need, translating those needs into your product, not only the product, how the product can be reached into the customer, how the information can be flowed, how you can do effective planning in a continuous intelligent planning process. That's what the industry is looking today. So meeting the supply, replenishing the product, giving a proper customer satisfaction. Whether we are putting some extra mileage to it, that's a call. That's a call, and that has to be in a smarter way of dealing the things. So this is what the CXOs are looking today. Let us understand in the next slide what the industry of the hospitality is looking today. So we have already heard from Dr. Bose about the various dimensions and the challenge that today the industry is going through. Specific to the hospitality industry I'm talking. So I had a discussion with many hospitality industry stalwarts like Dr. Bose and others, and this is the point of view what I understood from them. They are talking about, are we able to understand the conditions of the hundreds or the thousands of locations today? If a chain of hospitals are operating in a different location across the world, say it is Marriott or Hilton, I'm just naming for the sake of understanding and not to favor any of the hotel chain, and all are my favorites, whether it is an Accor or whether it's an ITC or Taj or Indian Hotels Company and all. So they are doing, I will say, the rationalization or the standardizations or the way they handle the customers. You cannot standardize the satisfaction of the customer. Today, I being a customer have a different demand to the industry, and maybe Madam Sanchari will have a different demand from the industry. Maybe Dr. Bose will have a different demand from the industry. So we need to know how to service those demands. So that's one of the things, how we are analyzing the conditions today. The other things, as we have talked enough about how we are going to keep the inventory level and where we are going to reduce the inventory in a various dimension. Mr. Sudhir from the ITC hotels, he is heading the procurement. He is talking about, we are all going through a paradigm shift, right? As Dr. Bose mentioned, we need to He also mentioned in the same line, we need to understand a new method. We need to understand how we can reconnect, reconduct, collaborate the business in terms of not only with the customers, along with the vendors and the suppliers, right? Then Dr. Bose mentioned about the technology. Even the hoteliers from the BW world, they also are talking in the same line, right? They were talking in the same dimensions. Yes, there is a need to add up the technology. The procurement is going to be the game changer in this, the way hotels are running today, right? I think, as Major Shettiya from Embassy Services, he mentioned, right? Like the hotel management and the procurement point of view is going to be strategically involved with the supplier into the chain, right? So we have to call the suppliers. Mr. Ramaswamy from the Marriott, he talks about like, okay, there are a lot of hotels are getting shut down or temporarily getting shut down. So we need to understand the issues related to the supply chain, and this is an ongoing issue. So now, if we all focus on all those things which all the stalwarts are talking based on the experience of the industry, we need to act. We need to act as early as possible. And once we overcome this situation, I think hospitality industry will be on the top of the sinusoidal curve. So today we are going into the deep challenge. Tomorrow, I think this will be the best industry to have the maximum revenue and profitability because you have undergone with all the challenges. So let's move forward to the next slides. So we talked about the dynamicism, right? We are talking about how critical to maintain the continuity in new normal. We talked about all those things in our previous slides. So the thing that we have to do, we have to service the customer in a various dimension of experiences. Now, when I say experiences starts from understanding the demand from the customer. How better experience we can deliver to the customer. How we can talk about the user experience, customer or a client as an user, right? How we can give those kind of experiences. How we can go with a multi-partner supply chain mechanism. Today, maybe there are suppliers or the vendors who we took suppliers from the different sourcing patterns, right? Now, how we can have a multi-partner supply chain mechanism. That means we are doing a partnership. Let us understand the terminology called partnership with vendors and partnership with our service providers. We need to be a partner. We need to work collaboratively. We cannot say, okay, this is your part of the pie, you manage it, and this is part of my pie, I will eat it in a comfort zone. No, there are dependencies, so we have to overcome the dependencies based on the partnership and the collaborative approach. This will help us to optimize our supply of the product. That will relate to the logistics aspect. That will relate to my delivery notions. That will relate to my how efficiently and effectively I am bringing smile to my customer experiences in terms of making them happy by providing all their, let me coin this, provide all their unstated needs. Today, I'll come to those pointers when I say the unstated needs, how we can suffice those unstated needs. So this will help us in terms of maintaining the sales, maintaining my product, the availability of the product. When I say the product, for the hospitality industry, the product can be a different thing. Maybe how we give a room to a customer. that is also a product for me. How we serve the platter or a specific dish in a different way to meet the requirement, and how we handle the forecasted demand on a real-time basis. This is all about user experiences in a smarter way to give a new normal dimension in the delivery and the demand pattern of the supply chain. That's where we were talking about the continuity of the supply chain. We all have handled the supply chain in our life before, but how we are reinventing the way we are handling the supply chain today. Moving forward to the next slide, we'll talk about the reinventions that we are going to talk through this pattern of the journey, right? So if we look, this is the 4 areas which again the current situation is facing in terms of handling the internal and external data. Those are really in silos. We need to understand how this silo of working style can be eliminated, and collaborative, reactive, or versus the proactive kind of things we should bring up into the discussion models, right? So we need to be more reactive rather than proactive. So today, if a customer, I'm just giving an example to the hospitality industry. Today, if a customer is saying, okay, the food is cold, and we act and say, oh, yes, the food is cold, I'll get a warm food for you. That's a reactive mechanism, but we need to be proactive. Before the customer say there is a problem, we should not allow any problem in the journey of experience. All the problem should be eliminated, and that should be the visibility across the supply chain to handle any kind of demand, whether it is a last minute demand that is coming from the customer or the demand which is already been narrated by the customer. This is a consequences that we are facing today. We are facing in terms of inaccurate demand and supply. So there are a lot of mismatch between what we are getting forecasted, because today, if you say my occupancy of an hotel, which has been forecasted with say 65% of the occupancy, but whereas if suddenly government comes and say, no, today there is a specific states will be going through a lockdown, then suddenly my occupancy level will go down. So how we are handling this mismatch of the forecasted demand along with my surplus inventory. So the surplus inventory that we are keeping as a stock keeping norms in the industry, how we are balancing those. So this is a pain point, this is my consequences, and how I am going to handle this. Dr. Bose mentioned about the cost, right? So there, yes, we are having a lot of manual aggregation of the process data. How we can automate those processes, how we can look forward in terms of one integrated view of my profitability, which is getting where the revenue is getting generated. How I am handling my operating cost in terms of inventory, in terms of managing the process. So this is very critical in this point of time, right? There are the collaboration issues today because everyone wants to handle their supply chain in a different dimensions. They want to work act as a silos, right? So today the way one hotel industry, one hoteliers are working, the other might not be working on the same channels. They want to compete with each other. So my point of thought in this particular aspect will be, instead of getting into the competition, let's understand how can we collaborate in terms of demand management. So IIHM can be just a thought to the process. IIHM can be amalgamation of all those hotels in the world, and they can help all those hoteliers to collaborate under one platform of managing the demand and giving a customer a different experience altogether. This is, yes, we have to go with a faster decision making, because as Dr. Bose has mentioned, and also the other hoteliers has mentioned, we have to add up the technology into this management in terms of making my decision-making process a very strong, robust, realistic, and the real-time decision-making, right? So that's where we have to look forward. Let's move into the next slide, please. So I know you might be having a lot of questions. People might be using their pen and papers, or they're doing a mind mapping of the questions, which I would be more than happy to take it at the end of the session. So let's understand, right, how this reinvented supply chain operations is going to help us. And that specific to the hospitality industry. And I think this is giving us a smarter experience way in terms of the organizational priorities that today we are going to deal with. So if we look into the extreme left side column, and we all can relate this in terms of the organizational priorities, right? We talked about our production and operation in the for the last few minutes that we were going through the journey of the understanding of the business. We talked about the client services. We talked about our planning processes. We talked about the quality. We talked about logistics, the supplier relationship, time for decisioning, the number of suppliers, the new product or the design that the hospitality industry today is going to take. We talked about the procurement aspects. We talked about the various dimensions here, right? Now, giving a flavor to it, and this is purely my point of view that I'm going to take it through this. So what I'm going to talk here, so we all been into the journey of the conventional supply chain operation. Mostly our production and operation are based on the prognostic basis that we have dealt with before. Now, in the reinvented supply chain, what we need to understand, this has to be a client demand basis. Now, this is where the dimension is getting changed, right? So we are talking about the real-time actual client demand basis, right? So this is where we are going to take the things forward. We are talking about the client services. So in the conventional, it was little flexible. We know, okay, because the time we were pioneer, we know, okay, the customer will come and they will definitely, we will go with their services. If not today, tomorrow we will rectify those things. No. In the reinvented supply chain manner, we need to be sensitive to the changes. We need to cater the real-time client's needs. We need to understand more in terms of giving them a personalized client experiences, which is interactive user experience. More you talk to the client, more you talk to your customer, more you get an understanding of their demands in the real time. There are mechanisms, there are ways to do. Today we are dealing with the world of artificial intelligence. Everything is available in the world. IBM has a product called Watson. With the power of Watson, we understand the each and every personas and their experiences. We understand the need of the personas. When I say the need of the personas, we have their social profiles, we understand their different dimensions of living, we understand their different needs. If they are going to the pub, we understand who are the people. They are the pub or the club people. We understand what exactly the age group of those guys. We understand what exactly the needs they are having. We understand the people also, those who are going with the family vacation or the leisure trip. And in this particular journey of new normal, we should know what exactly a person, when they're planning for the travel, how their logistics should be catered, how the needs and the experiences should be accommodated in terms of giving all the dimensional aspects, in terms of giving our real-time user experiences. That's about the client service. Now, the planning part, yes, it was random and limited. And today, when we are moving into the reinvented operational aspects, we should understand this has to be a detailed planning. And this has to be a long-term, continuous, intelligent planning. So I will touch upon this aspect of what is the continuous intelligent planning, where we were talking about my touchless planning process. We'll park it for now. We'll have a slide on this continuous intelligent planning, which was a new dimension that IBM is giving into the supply chain in the reinvented manner of getting in the new normal, right? Yes, the processes were batches. Today, and when we were going into the era of, when we are entering into the era of the reinvented supply chain operation, we need to look about the continuous cross-functionality of the integrated supply chain, right? So that's how we need to look forward. So the other thing that we were talking about, the quality, right? So in the quality, we need to deliver the quality through a continuous interactive experiences process. So when I say experiences, today the quality that we deliver based on one set of experience that the client is asking us to provide. And this is a continuous process for me. I cannot say I have delivered a quality product. This product has to be delivered through an experience. Today, when a client walk into an hotel, or say if the client is getting in the airport, or into any of the hospitality industry, if they are walking in, they get an experience. And that's where the experience starts. Till the time client give or provide their accolades. So we have to build a system where the client talks about the accolades, because the client is going to be the ambassador of those processes that has been reinvented by all of us. We talked about logistics. We are comparing with the reinvented process with the conventional one. We have to give a value-oriented, experience-based, connected logistics. When I say connected logistics, we have to go with the shared logistics model. When I say the shared logistics model, today, I'm just quoting an example, but not in favor of any of the hotel industry in this particular forum. If Taj is using a pattern of logistics, if he is welcoming his guest from the airport in Bangalore and taking them to the Taj West End, and the other guest who is also coming on the same flight, and he wants to stay with Renaissance by Marriott, which is close by Taj West End, why can't we have a shared logistics in a connected operational way? That's the beauty. That's the beauty of this reinvented. We are sharing our aspects. We are sharing about our notions. We are saving our cost in every dimension. Yes, we need to understand, right, where each penny can be saved. And this is the framework that I would request IIHM to think aloud in those dimensions. How this can be worked out in a collaborative way, along with all the hoteliers or the hospitality industry leaders in the chain of the hospitality management, so that you can be the hub of all those center of excellence in terms of reinvented supply chain operation. So today, I look forward to Dr. Bose in terms of creating a center of excellence in the dimension of supply chain reinvention for the hospitality industry. So under the umbrella of IIHM, this can be one of the initiatives which can be tied the knot along with all the hoteliers or the hospitality industry leaders. So I'm just giving an example of how I collaborated in terms of creating this slide deck. I have prepared the slide deck, and day before yesterday, my daughter was having the online session, just to getting a little bit of off track from the supply chain. I asked that, what have you learned in your digital classes that you are going through? She said that I learned about how to create a slide. I said, okay, let's collaborate. And believe me or not, to be honest, she is the one who has created this slide deck for me. The entire slide, the content is mine, but the deck is her. So that's how we collaborated, and we said, because I have to nurture her, because she can be also a consultant going forward. So what I look forward, if we have a center of excellence of the hospitality industry, you will nurture across the breadth of the hospitality industry, and you will give the product which is required by the industry. So that's where we were talking about when we were talking about in terms of supplier relationship. We are talking about the conventional was, okay, random and distant. I used to give these things to my teammate, let them manage it, let them deliver. It is not the one that we have to do it based on the trust, collaboration, and the visibility of the process. So giving the example of my daughter, I trusted her. I collaborated with her. Then I understand what is the visibility that she is bringing up in terms of the relationship, being a supplier to my process. Exactly the same thing as an entrepreneur. Today, a lot of people who should look up into those dimensions. How we can bring the visibility in the supplier relationship, how we can collaborate in a single dimension of the platform, keeping in mind cost. If we can run the operation at the lowest operating cost today with the highest profitability in this new normal, then we are going to rock in the coming days. We need to understand how the AI-based real-time data-driven decision-making things is going to come forward in terms of taking my decisions. We need to partner based on our user experiences with the various suppliers. We need to understand from the initial stage of designing a product, right? So earlier the product design used to take long time in the supply chain, in the conventional method. But today we have to impromptu of all those things. Likewise, I was talking to one of the hoteliers. He mentioned that we have converted, I'll coin the name of the hotelier. He is from the Marriott group of hotels, and he's from the Renaissance. He told we have converted our suite into a different user experiences. How they have designed the product, they have thought this in a very initial stage. They have collaborated with the various clients, and their I'll say in the hospitality industry, we'll say the guests, they understand those requirements, they understand the specific needs. So they have given the product in terms of, okay, the preferences of a candlelight facing the pool, or in the candlelight, whether you will have a bottle of wine or you will have a cocktail with a platter of different tastes, whether it is going to be a continental dish or an Indian or those kind of things. He has already scribed this as a part of his product portfolio. He's giving an experience. Giving an experience is not only he's defined the product, he has derived the product. He has derived the product. We need to understand how we can derive the product. Okay. Now, we talked about the procurement aspects, right? It was pretty historical, because the procurement is going to be the game changer here. We definitely need to enable technology and analytics into the real-time procurement, right? The sourcing is going to play a critical role today. Now, moving into the next slide, we are going to talk about the continuous intelligent planning.
It's 13 hours.
Sorry, I think we are top of the time. I don't know if you are allowing some additional time to talk, Sanchari.
Absolutely, Rudra. Yes, we do have time.
Okay, can we move forward to the next slide, please?
Yes.
Okay. This is a continuous intelligent planning, which was been done through a lot of research by the IBMers. And as we were talking about the control towers, as we were talking about the center of excellence, that IIHM can be the control towers of all, along with definitely IBM is always there to help and provide support to IIHM. And I think we are being collaborative with IIHM, and EduGuy is one of the product which soon the world is looking forward to it. I think there will be a global launch of the product on the day of 5th of September, and that's a very auspicious day, being a Teacher's Day. And Dr. Bose is the pioneer of this product, I will say in that way. And definitely IBM has got the opportunity to work and to develop this product in a collaborative manner. So we'll have more products to come together, and this continuous intelligent planning can be one of the products that we can look forward, where we were going to sense the demand in an automated workflow. We are going to bring up a lot of automation in the process. We are going to bring up the end-to-end visibility in a collaborative manner, in a constant way of giving an user experiences through the smarter supply chain, right? We talked about the smartest supply chain. We have to be smart enough. The industry is looking for a smart people to dominate. Because the guest, the client, or the customers are really smarter today. You cannot bluff the client, because they are a customers. I'll say the guest who is the age group of 5 to 12, they will Google it, whether, oh, this is the best experience I got from Taj West End. This is the best experience I got from Hilton or the Conrad. This is the best experience I got from the Marriott. So this is the best experience I got from Embassy Group. This is the best experience I got from the Emirates Airlines. So we need to understand the age groups in this generation. I'll say the generation Y, the future generation are really the smart people that we are handling with. So we have to be sensitive in terms of handling those smart people. We have to understand how we can automate their requirement and the demand in terms of the planning process in an intelligent way. So this is all about how we can do the inventory, the product, the operation, the vendor, from my capacity planning to the financial, the cost, the operations, everything under the one banner, right? And this is where we would like to invite the entrepreneurs to think around. This is the journey that the entrepreneur needs to think. This is the experience you have to come up with, right? So this is about our continuous intelligent planning. And I think with the launch of the Edu Guy, we will have more to come up and collaborate in the IBM and IIHM world together. So let's move forward. Yes, this is, I'm going to talk about a different dimension now, right? So this is the last things that we all need to look forward. We are talking about the strategies. Without strategic insights, my supply chain operations is not going to fulfill the new demand of the new normal. So my short-term strategy, which is my, I'll say the near term, that everyone is looking forward to this, we have to rebalance my existing workforce, right? So when I say my existing workforce, I am putting myself as a industry leader into the supply chain industry or into the hospitality industry. We have to rebalance, right? I'm not saying, okay, you have to remove the existing workforce, or you have to say goodbye to the existing workforce, or you have to cut short your manpower. You have to cut short your workforce. We have to understand how we can rebalance, how we can redeploy those workforce. Today, those workforce who are not into the operations, but they are part of my payroll process, and they are going to be asset for me when my boom into the hospitality is going to come in the next year or the year forward, right? So how those assets can think aloud in terms of the strategy that we have talked in our previous slides. Use those workforce, rebalance them, reallocate your operation and to other products. Today, I'm just giving an example. Today, I used to get a lot of calls from the hotels, from whether it is from Conrad or Hilton or Marriott or Taj in Bangalore. I'm getting calls and they are saying it's not about that Zomato or Swiggy is delivering their food. They are saying, we want to come up with an experience of food. We might come and cook at your kitchen. We will get our things. You don't have to go out, right? So that's a different product that they are trying to establish in the market. The chefs are coming to the chefs at home. Think aloud. If today, and I know Dr. Bose would be delighted to hear that if Mr. Sanjeev Kapoor or I'll say any of the celebrity chef is coming to the kitchen of IIHM and they are doing a session one day and that food is getting dispersed to the, I'll say the clients or the guests They'll be more than happy, right? And they will be the ambassador of the process. So that's, I'm talking about how we are regenerating the products. We need to institutionalize the policies and the procedures, which has to be communicated effectively to the clients or the guests in advance to provide a better experiences. We have to discontinue some of the processes and the products. When I say discontinued, you might be having a normal array of buffet, right? How we can customize the buffet lunch or a dinner or a candlelight dinner, or how we can discontinue some of the services in the airlines industry, or in the front office management, or in the real estate front office as a part of the hospitality industry, right? So we need to understand the modes, as we were discussing in the previous slides, the mode of transport, alternate mode of the transportations and the logistics services. This is what we are looking as a short-term or a near-term strategy that we need to look forward. Yes, in the long term, where the cost is really involved in a lot of things, we need to be agile. That's for sure. We need to be agile. Today, the agile is going to be the key driver. We need to resilient in terms of our workflow and the workforce, right? We need to give a continued user experiences in the long-term strategy. So the client will talk about their experiences in every dimensions. So TripAdvisors or many other portals, they give the experiences of the client that is sharing in a common platform. Why can't we have on-time real client experiences? For example, today, if some of the client getting an experience by any of the hoteliers, that should be spontaneous and that should be used as a client experiences, which can be percolated to among all. In-house clients can get that experience. Okay, this is what Mr. Roy has got from Marriott. This is what Dr. Bose has got from Taj. That immediately they will get flashed into their, I'll say, into their smartphones, into their everything, right? So that's the experiences we need to think when we are doing in terms of the entrepreneurial aspects of the business. We need to understand how we are going to organize the digital supply chain in everywhere in all dimensions. We need to integrate the technologies, and this is the heart of the supply chain reinvention. We need to understand the IoT, we need to understand the automation, we need to understand the blockchain, because your payment gateways are also being managed. So today blockchain is going to play different dimensions in the supply chain of the payment. Because just give you an example, today the sourcing pattern will get changed, right? And when the sourcing pattern is getting changed, today maybe chef, the celebrity chef, Mr. Ranbir, can source his requirement in the portal, and that payment, if he is working for any of the hoteliers, that payment can be directly linked with that portals. So no need for him, he knows what is the best raw material to be sourced. He can put these dimensions, he can put the requirement, immediately the sourcing will flow in an automated manner, and the blockchain will help us to in terms of the e-procuring and the e-sourcing things. The play in the market is going to be e-sourcing and e-procurement. So maybe today a set of people as a workforce is managing the entire sourcing process of any hotel. That need to be moved into the e-procurement and e-sourcing. A chef can order for his raw material, and that will be delivered to the chef, and the gateway will help the chef to make the payment after inspecting the quality of the raw material. That's the integration. That's the technology is going to play. So we need to understand the center of excellence, and I look forward IIHM as to be the alternate source of supply and the logistics provider for everything in terms from the procuring to sourcing to delivery and to give the experiences.
Thank you so
That's
much, Rudra. I think, thank you. I think it was a wonderful session. I have to say, and I'm certain Dr. Bose and all our directors here would also be basically, thinking that, there has been so much of an effort that you've in fact gone ahead and put across this entire presentation for our students today. And truly, taking into picture the reinventing of the supply chain operations, for the new normal right now, for the hospitality scenario, taking into account all your examples that you have set in, the collaboration, the ideas that you've put in, I'm certain, all our students, especially the ones who are looking for, becoming an entrepreneur tomorrow, would be keeping all these things in mind. All the pointers have been extremely beautifully described by you, Mr. Roy. And for that, I would like to basically call in Dr. Bose once again, and definitely all our directors as well. I can see Mr. Abdullah and a few of them, to talk the final words for the session. Before that, sir, I would want you to be here.
I would love to see what we have talked today, if that is getting institutionalized, and that's where the learning flows, the chain of actions comes into the play. Only talking might not help us. There has to be an implementation journey to this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Roy. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It was a very informative and very strategic session. And what you said is absolutely correct. It should not be stopped at only talking and discussing. It should be implemented and executed. And this is something which actually has a lot of new things you have mentioned, which I think can reach the CEOs and the vice president of the companies of the hotel organization. And I'm sure I will speak to them, and possibly we can do a webinar with the vice president and general managers of the major brands, hospitality brands. And certain ideas are really, really very interesting. For example, some partnership logistic, like two hotels of different brand but located close to each other can actually collaborate and can reduce the cost of logistic and the cost of transport, and that can really be, no point in paying two trucks of a truckload of things coming from same place if you can share the logistic cost. So there are certain things which you have mentioned which
also,
are
I think in the sourcing
very
part
good.
also we can look forward. I mean,
Yes.
Sourcing part, because when the raw material is getting sourced for the hotels, how that can be channelized in a different set of continuous journey.
Absolutely, and also that will give more negotiation muscle to the organization if more than one company can join hand and negotiate on a similar kind of thing. For example, certain things in hotels are common in all hotels, whether it's about fish, chicken, poultry, butter, cheese, etc., and which we use in all properties. So possibly a lot of things can be sourced from a single source, which gives a more negotiation muscle for the volume of the ordering. Right. So I think these are very interesting things, which I think we will definitely take it forward to the industry decision makers, and possibly do a webinar with them, and also take their feedback and viewpoints about what they think about it.
And I would be more than happy. I would be more than happy to contribute, because today, yes, in the world of the design thinking, I think we should arrange a workshop in terms of the design thinking, which will help all of the hoteliers to be on the same platform. And IIHM can be the host of this design thinking session, and IBM will be more than happy to collaborate with that.
Absolutely. And you have said something which is close to my heart. Design thinking is what the world has already moved in. And in fact, I will tell all my students, if they can do some Coursera online courses on design thinking, which are not difficult and not expensive, because design thinking has replaced our usual agile thinking and strategic thinking. And that's the world that we are living in. So thanks very much. And thanks for your support.
To add on, Dr. Bose,
yes,
IIHM is giving a lot of support in terms of the learning portals, and a lot of sessions are free. So
Yes.
all the students, entrepreneurs, even the industry experts, they can also undergo those kind of sessions, including the design thinking and the artificial intelligence and other part. This is a free for them.
I do remember that you did a design thinking for our Edu guy about a year back in Calcutta, and it was such a success. And today, in this week, we are launching the same product. We started with you doing the design thinking workshop with the teachers, parents, and the students. So that is the power of design thinking, which can actually give much more strategic muscle than just about talking and going back. So I think
I'm happy to see and also be part of that session. And I'm seeing the thoughts which came through the design thinking is getting now. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty.
Yes, that's fantastic. So thanks very much. It was such a pleasure to have you and all our directors, everybody. On behalf of everyone, let me convey our heartfelt thanks and look forward to see you soon. For our students, I'm sure they will love it. Over to you, Sanchari.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bose, for this very, very encouraging words. Absolutely agreed to you, sir. And of course, we're looking forward to the design thinking templates and of course, discussion on this further. Thank you so much, Mr. Roy, for letting us know about the courses also on IBM. And I'm sure we will go ahead and, have an exposure on that. And, it is really incredible for giving us such, a lot of knowledge today, in fact, on the entire series, and definitely with AI, with technology driving the world today, and definitely education. We're looking forward for a great, great, unthinkable, education system and pedagogy for all our systems. So thank you so much, Mr. Roy. And on behalf of Dr. Bose and behalf of all our directors who are here, and definitely our students, thank you. And we look forward to having you here present in our campus very soon to welcome our new students and definitely talk to them in person.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
And just wanted to know, if there is any questions, I'll be more than happy to respond to those.
Definitely, Mr. Roy. Right now, I think all the questions have been answered by you already. They have been taken care of very, very beautifully. And for any further questions, we'll definitely be, getting in touch with you and passing on those particular questions to you forward. Yeah. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful
day. The opportunity to share the thoughts with the students, the entrepreneurs, and everyone in the IIHM. Thank you, and I look forward to it.
Thank you so much. Namaskar, everybody. Have a great, great afternoon ahead. Thank you for joining in.
Namaskar to all as well.